Christopher Rosen with Gold Derby. I'm so pleased to be joined by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, an acclaimed actress whose new project is the excellent limited series, A Gentleman in Moscow. Mary, just to start, when you're obviously best based on this incredible best-selling book, but when you were first approached with the project, why was it something you really felt like you wanted to participate in?
Well, I had a feeling it was going to be an amazing project from the start, sort of hearing about Ewan's attachment to it and him reading the novel and just being around him as it was all coming his way. And then I read the novel, and Ewan had already kind of tipped me off to the idea that there was potentially an interesting female role in it. But he didn't tell me much, so I wasn't sure, like, is there going to be much to do in this role? Is it going to be right for me? Is it going to make sense? And I loved the story. I loved the world. I loved the book so much. And I loved who Anna was, and the possibility of getting to play someone like her was incredibly exciting. So I just kind of very casually threw my hat in the ring and just said, hey, if you get around to casting this role, keep me in mind. I think it could be a great fit. But I didn't want to push it because you never know. They might have some totally different idea of who she is, and that would be totally valid. So I didn't want to push myself on them in any way. I wanted to be sure that they thought I was right for it. So when it came back around to me and they offered me the role, I was just so happy that they all felt that I could be this Anna and that I was the right person for it, because it was an incredible opportunity for me to get to be in this world, and to be in it with Ewan was very special.
You have this great relationship with him in real life, and then obviously in the show too. But it starts in not the most romantic circumstances, right, on the show at least, and in terms of it, I guess, how much fun was that to play those early scenes with Anna and the Count, and like kind of like there's a lot of it's very funny and like very I just think it's like really great, those early scenes with you guys together. I just found that like very amusing.
It was so much fun. I mean, we just both love, as actors, we love it. We love what we do, and we love to play, and we love to just show up and play off of one another's energy. And I think that that's why we love to work together so much, is we just connect, because there's this spark that comes from loving what we do and being so happy to be there, and just sort of both of us being so happy to be in these clothes and in this place, and we just love it. And to share that bond as actors is really special, and to just show up and to get to look at one another and being like, okay, this is our playtime. We get a break from the real world, and we get to step into this and just be, and it's absolutely so much fun.
Do you feel like when you work with him, I mean, you've done three projects, right? Fargo and Birds of Prey and in this, but when you were in this specifically, I guess, when you work with him, do you get like, does he bring out something you as an actor that you like don't, or that was like, surprising to you or something that you're not necessarily expecting, I guess?
Yeah, I think that it's just so easy. I mean, you always hope that acting feels effortless. I mean, that's always the goal. And there's times where sometimes you might be working with someone who, for whatever reason, you don't connect with as well, and it's something you might have to overcome to get to that effortless feeling where you just get to be free. So to step on set and to click with someone where there's no barrier whatsoever to that freedom, is just like a gift, it's like an absolute joy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes across definitely in the performances here, and especially as like the relationship between Anna and the Count kind of gets to really emotional places by the end. I mean, it's like, like I was like very emotional by the end of the show, like weeping. And then the last scenes with you guys, especially, I just found like really incredible and it felt very authentic, obviously, watching it. So I think it does, the effortlessness, I think, is like comes through, I guess.
That's great. That's great to hear, because you never know. Sometimes you're really feeling something, and then doesn't necessarily always translate. So that's lovely to hear. Thank you.
You're playing an actress on this show. You are an actress, obviously. Did you think of Anna as, I guess, how did you think of her in terms of the skill of her, like, of her professional life? Like, how did you like think of her as an actress, I guess?
I felt like she was a very good actress, at least in terms of her determination and her desire to be a good actor. I think she cares a lot about it, about the craft, and I think she is an artist. First and foremost, I think that's what she loves to do. But she's also like a survivor and a hustler, and she'll do whatever she needs to do to kind of, get the job, get the part, stay in the game. So I think there's that side of her as well, that maybe is thinking about the business side of it, on top of the creativity. So I think she does what she's got to do to stay with the times, and in the midst of trying to hold on to her own dignity and her creative self as well.
Sure. You have the great scene, like not to spoil it, but there's a great scene later in the show, and I forget. Unfortunately, I forget the young actor's name who you're opposite, but it's a young actress comes in, and you have this incredible scene with her, and I just thought it was like I've seen a lot. I just loved. I think your performance in that scene is amazing. I think the way it's written, everything about that, I just loved. And I guess again, not to like totally spoil it, but like I guess when you talk about like doing that as an actor, talking about like and obviously you're still very young, but I mean, talking about being like, it being doing aging and being like coming at it differently as you are now than you would have like 20 years ago, I guess. I just found that whole scene like really great.
Well, thank you. I loved it as well. I remember when the script came in, I was just so blown away because it resonated with me so much. And to know that our writer, Ben Vanstone, who's a man, sort of took my thoughts and my feelings from being an actor and somehow put them on the page. It felt so relevant to what we really feel, and I'm sure only heightened at that time period. I mean, when it was true that an actress would hit 40 and sort of never be seen again, and thankfully now that's much less so the case. But it doesn't mean that there's still not this shift that you feel. I'm very lucky to be in a time where I feel that shift is a really positive thing, and I'm only feeling like things are going to get better from here. But it is different. Things are totally different for me than they were when I was 20, and so I really resonated with that, and I loved getting to get to the point where Anna was able. Well, I don't want to spoil it, but Anna's able to rise above maybe who she might have been in her younger, more hustling self. And it was great to kind of see that evolution in her.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, and a great way to not spoil it. I think I just think the writing on the show is so great, and the way all these characters are so well drawn is so honestly unique. I guess felt watching it, I felt like that. Did you get the sense of that, like reading the scripts, not just for Anna, but like I guess in general, like the whole experience you had with the show? Did you feel that as well? That it's like unique to have these kind of like really strong, well written arcs for all these different characters.
Absolutely. I mean, it was really a, excuse me, it was really a dream job from beginning to end. I couldn't believe just that we got to go to work together and step into a world that we found to be so beautiful and complex and detailed and nuanced and full of these really specific journeys for so many different just beautiful characters who just kind of pop off the page, and then the actors, then every single part just made them so real and unique. And I mean, every single scene, we would just come home and just be like, "Oh my God, that was so good! They were so great! Did you see what they did there? Do you remember this part?" We would just talk about how brilliant everyone was. Truly special, absolutely.
Yeah, I felt like, I mean, I felt watching it, I felt like that too. So I guess that's like really good. Anna has this, obviously another relationship that's very key. It was with Olga. I think your scenes with Anastasia are great as well, and I love how their bond develops throughout the show, and we get to like learn more about their relationship. And I guess like, what was that like for you to kind of get to explore that with her? I guess.
Absolutely, Anastasia is brilliant. I mean, as I was saying, everyone on the show is just, we just watch them, out of the corner of your eye, pick up some little thing that they did and just go, oh my God, they're just so in it in every single moment. And she brought so much to that role, and we spoke a lot about it together, her and I, about our relationship and our backstory and how we came to be together and how this relationship came to be formed, and it was so wonderful to get to have those conversations with her and to kind of deepen that as time went on, and to sort of find this almost mother-daughter relationship that really kind of forms throughout the show. And it starts out as something where you think she's sort of like this assistant kind of groveling at this actress's feet, handling her coats and her bags and her luggage. And then it's revealed that there's actually so much love between them. And it was really beautiful to play.
I love that about the show too, because obviously it jumps through time. So like we're seeing like, and I think maybe there's a part where like your 5 years have passed, right, since we last seen her, and obviously I found that really fascinating for everybody. But I mean, I guess for you, like thinking about like how do you play we don't know what has gone on in that 5 years, but obviously your character has lived 5 years of life, and like a lot has changed probably in their lives, right? Like everybody else's. So I guess like how did you kind of think about that and wrap your head around like how you would approach her at that stage after we kind of like come back to her, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Well, I think you certainly you think about it. You feel it. You think about, okay, what's transpired, and obviously the show is set against the backdrop of Russia in the 1920s and beyond, and the immense changes that were going on at that time. So that's obviously affecting everyone in the time period when they're away and then they come back, and so everyone is having very big changes in their lives, and for her, big changes that happen for her is her career. So she starts out in the show where she's sort of at the top. She's a movie star, and throughout the course of the show, sometimes she's a bit down and she's not really very much of a star, and she's struggling and she's kind of climbing the ladder, and so that definitely affected her in terms of where she's at, her ego, her stance, her vulnerability, and that was really great to get to kind of play with that, but also sort of let it go, because we change and we don't at the same time. In 5 years' time, most of the people I know, you can't really pinpoint exactly how they've changed, but it's there. So you don't want to. It's a fine line, and so you don't want to overplay it, but you want to sort of have it within you.
Yeah, I feel like that definitely. I still feel like I look in the mirror. I'm like, I'm the same age as I was
Same.
20 years ago,
I
right? Nothing
know.
has changed.
Yeah.
So like to me, yeah, like that's nice. Do you have like you mentioned like getting like knowing like seeing Ewan's excitement for the project and like all those things and like kind of like hoping it would come back around. I know I talked to Ben and he was like Anna was a key character for him to flesh out more than she is in the book. And I guess like how did you kind of like talk to him about her in those early stages and like what was that collaboration like for you with like Ben and like making sure that Anna was really present, and especially as we get to the end, back end.
I think there was a lot of trust involved in this show. There wasn't a lot of talking about what was going to happen or what were going to be in the scripts or how we should approach it. They were very sort of hands off, but in the most lovely way. It always felt incredibly supportive and incredibly open and collaborative, but in a way where almost nothing needed to be said because everyone kind of came to it kind of going, okay, I know who this character is. I love it. I want to show up and play it. And we don't have to talk about it too much. We just we all kind of get it. I was just so impressed that they did spend so much more time with Anna and the Count's relationship because I didn't really know that going into it. I really didn't know if I was going to just be sort of a splashy character in the beginning who fades to the background by the end, or I didn't know what their plans were for her. So every time I got a new episode, I was like overwhelmed with gratitude that I got to like show up and play these scenes because it was very unexpected for me that they were going to give her that kind of time. I was very grateful.
Do you have like I feel like this is a great show, and just in general because I think it's very timeless, right? And like I think the themes of it are really great. What are you? Yeah, like what are you hoping? I guess when people see this, like what kind of response are you hoping this brings out in people, or I guess like what are you hoping, they'll take from the show?
I mean, obviously, the show tonally it goes so many places, and it's whimsical and it's funny and it's light while at the same time, dealing with so much kind of heavy material in terms of the setting that it's placed in. But ultimately, I think it's about finding connection, finding your purpose in life through love and through your humanity and your connections with the people that you love. And I think there's something sort of sweeping and epic about that, about where it takes you emotionally, that it can make you kind of laugh and cry in a way that I think we don't always see anymore. It kind of reminds me of an old movie where you just sit down and you're just sort of awestruck by it and kind of in tears by the end going, oh my God, that was such a sort of romantic, sweeping, epic journey through time. That's how it makes me feel. It harkens back to that kind of age. So I hope it makes other people feel that way. I really do.
It definitely made me feel that way as well. And like I said, like I was like weeping by the end. So I'm like, I guess I was like totally in on it. Do you have like, I mean, and for you as an actor, I guess when you go to like are you the type of actor who like, do you take like, are you when you're done with this project, do you kind of leave it behind then, or do you think of things that you did on this that you would maybe take to a next role or next job, like kind of like are you accumulating like different things as you're going from job to job? I guess, as an actor.
Yeah, I think always you learn so much and you take things with you. I don't know that I'm necessarily like conscious of it in a way that I articulate to myself. I just sort of I think every role I take challenges me in some way, and that's part of the point of it is I get to tackle some new part of myself that I haven't done before. And that always is it just sort of adds to your toolbox as an actor. You kind of go, "Oh, okay, I've done that now. I'm a little more confident in that area." And then you kind of carry that through your life and through your work, and that's just the great thing about getting to continue to do this job.
Yeah, it's a great, and I'm glad you are continuing to do this. I think you're a great actor, and this is a really great performance. Mary Elizabeth Winstead and A Gentleman in Moscow. Thank you so much for doing this. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. Yeah, nice to see you. Have a good one.